Welcome to Rutgers Global International Student and Scholar Services. We are known as ISSS for short, and we are proud to be our international students' home away from home. From presenting international student orientation to providing guidance on legal matters and even advising students beyond graduation, ISSS is here to accompany you throughout your journey at Rutgers.
We handle all immigration-related matters for international students, faculty, and scholars at Rutgers, New Brunswick and Rutgers Biomedical and Health Sciences, also known as RBHS.
ISSS advisors offer expertise on legal compliance, and we're happy to be a resource for both our students and our campus partners who may have questions about regulatory matters affecting our international community.
We are committed to fostering global engagement, nurturing the diversity of Rutgers University, and advocating on behalf of our international students and scholars.
We have 3 locations to assist and advise you. The Rutgers Global Central Office is located at 30 College Avenue on the historic New Brunswick campus. This location is home to our international faculty and scholar advising staff, and it is also the office of the Rutgers Global Administration, Programming, and Partnership staff.
The RBHS office is located at 65 Bergen Street in the city of Newark. RBHS advisors share their time between the office in Newark and the International Student Services office in New Brunswick. This is 180 College Avenue, the home of International Student Services at Rutgers, New Brunswick, where we have international student advisors and other staff who are available to answer your questions and connect you with resources in and around our campus community.
Remember, your academic status and legal status go hand in hand, so you must follow all the rules to maintain your F1 and J1 status. Your CEVA status is activated when you enter the US, and you're always required to have health insurance at all times.
Our office communicates with you in a variety of ways. We send out email reminders, notices, and updates that will help you maintain your legal status. Remember to check your Rutgers email regularly. Also, our website provides comprehensive information for international students and includes instructions on how to best reach us.
The Our Global portal is the online platform for a variety of requests and services offered by ISSS. Students and scholars log in with their NetID and password, and they use the Our Global portal to submit e-form requests, such as new student check-in, reduced credit load authorization, and applications for off-campus employment. You will be using this portal right from the time you begin your F1 or J1 status at Rutgers and throughout your time here.
Rutgers University hosts the International Student Orientation Program and facilitates cross-cultural programming for international students and scholars, as well as their spouses and children. Be sure to follow us on social media to keep informed.
During a time when international students and scholars are faced with many challenges and uncertainties, Rutgers Global ISSS remains ever committed to providing holistic support and advocacy. We are so happy to count you as a member of our global community.
Okay, well, Jinling, thank you for playing that, and thanks, Maya. Hello, everyone. I'm Mohini Mukherjee, Director of Student Services at Rutgers Global International Student and Scholar Services. Like you saw in the video, you will get to know us as ISSS during your time here. Thank you again for joining us from different parts of the world today. We really wish we could all be together in a real room, but I'm at least thankful that technology gives us the opportunity to stay connected wherever we are. And again, like Maya said, we'll record the event. So for those that were not able to join us today, we can make this information available to them later. I too want to extend a very warm welcome to you all. Whatever your situation, whether you're joining us in person or remotely this semester, we get that starting school in these pandemic times can be overwhelming and challenging. You have many questions that just don't seem to get answered, or the answers keep changing. But today, at least, we're here to help make this transition or this beginning just a little bit easier, and to let you know that we will all be here to work with you as you navigate through these times. We're very grateful to have our colleagues from different units at the university here with us today to share resources, information, and to answer questions you may have. Please review our agenda. that we will keep dropping in the chat just so you're aware of what's coming next. It's all really good information. And as you hear from all our presenters, you will learn a lot more about Rutgers resources. And while you cannot possibly remember everything that is said, please do remember that the best way to make the most of your Rutgers experience is to avail of the incredible academic, recreational, social, and so many other resources available to you. A lot of this information is also on the Canvas International Student Orientation site that you have all been invited to. And you can always reach out to us if you cannot find any information you need. So whether you're joining us in person or outside, or maybe you're joining us in person later, but you're just not here yet, I wanted to quickly remind you of some important things to do as you begin the spring term at Rutgers. And I'm assuming that many of you may have completed most of this already, but hopefully a few little reminders wouldn't hurt. So you should be completing both parts of the International Student Orientation, the Canvas portion, and today, because you're here today, Canvas has a lot of great resources, so please make sure you complete all the modules available to you on Canvas. You should be registered for classes. I know most of you already are. Graduate students are required to register for a minimum of 9 credits and undergraduate students for a minimum of 12 credits. But the final number of credits and what kind of courses you need to take will be something you discuss with your academic schools and departments. We strongly encourage you to update all your personal information on a regular basis on the My Rutgers portal. It is very important that you keep this information current, as it is used to communicate with you by all relevant university units. So these are all things you should be doing even if you're not coming to campus in person. You should upload your photo for the official university ID card, though you will get the card only when you come to campus. All Rutgers students are required to have health insurance coverage for which you're automatically billed, unless you have an assistantship or a fellowship in case of graduate students. You do need to enroll for the coverage or request a waiver, depending on your situation. You should visit our website for health insurance information. And we've also been sending you notices on your email. So please make sure you check your email to see how you can enroll or waive out of your health insurance coverage. Now, specifically for students who will be joining us in person for this semester, we have some additional advice that you should follow. First thing I would say is check your I-20. The document you have, your I-20 or your DS 2019, if you're a J1 student, and if you're an F1 student, that I-20 will say initial attendance. You must look at, if you have initial attendance on your I-20, you have to check in with our office through the Rutgers Global portal available to you on our website. We'll drop in the link for the website. Again, you're getting these reminders on your email. This is a legal requirement of your status, so you must make sure you check in with ISSS within a day or two of your arrival here in the US. We are required as an office to report your enrollment and your arrival here in the US to the government website, that's CVIS, very quickly after your arrival. So you must make sure you complete this process. Next, you should attend a Staying in Legal Status workshop on Canvas. Again, you're getting information about this. Please make sure you complete this workshop. It gives you some guidelines just to make sure you can follow all the rules that you need to follow to maintain your F1 or J1 legal status. You should upload all your required immunization information, including the COVID vaccine and booster reports. Check with Residence Life if you're for your move-in procedures, if you have an on-campus housing contract. And some of this we'll get into more detail as we go through this session. Note that in-person classes are expected to begin on January 31st. So if you're planning to attend in person this semester, you should be here by then. If for any reason, and we understand that many of you may be in challenging situations where you are with COVID and travel and visa-related delays, please be in touch with your academic program and your professors to discuss whether a delayed arrival or maybe a deferral of your arrival is a possibility. We're doing our best to monitor the situation as it evolves, and we will continue to communicate all relevant information with you. Check your email regularly again, and please visit our website for the most up-to-date information. I think I'll stop there, but we'll be around at the end of today's session to answer any questions you may have. And I wish you the very best for the spring semester and your journey at Rutgers. Thank you and welcome again. Thanks, Maya. Back to you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Mohini. Okay, next we're going to have our Rutgers Anthem video to get you all excited about being a part of this wonderful, beloved community.
Wake up, Rutgers. Let's get to work. We don't have time to hit snooze or wait for the next bus. Look around. This is a big, brave new world. So get out there and go. That's what we do. We're Scarlet Knights. Strong on our own, but together we're unstoppable. All of us after the same things make a difference. Make our communities better. Make our mark on the world. And remember, we've been doing that here on the banks of the Raritan for 250 years. The leaders and legends that came before us paved the way. Now, the torch is yours. It's up to you to continue this legacy. Remember that. Almost 500,000 proud alumni sat in these classrooms. CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, visionary inventors, and media moguls. Those are big desks to fill, but we all start somewhere. Our passion and dedication make the world greener and cleaner, even if that means getting a little bit dirty. This is the Garden State. We tend the land, from the Delaware River to the Jersey Shore, and we don't stop there. We patrol the oceans and soak up the sun. Those panels aren't just pretty to look at, they work. There's a fighter inside all of us. We fight for justice and human rights for all. We are activists. When other institutions said no, we said yes. We get to brag about being a leader in women's education. And here at Rutgers, everyone is welcome. Everyone can be themselves. Everyone has a voice. We're healers and innovators, scientific geniuses. We've collected a few of these over the years. And not to brag, but we did crack the cure to tuberculosis. It's kind of a big deal. Scarlet Knights are a political force that have shaped the nation. We've turned out plenty of governors and senators through the years, and a vice president too. Supreme Court Justice Ginsburg, yeah, she taught here. We're still waiting on a president though. Maybe it's you. We like your chances. All work and no play? Our play is work. We're performers and entertainers. We sold out Carnegie Hall. We danced at the Met. We won Pulitzer Prizes in literature. We've changed the face of television. At Rutgers, we build champions and bring home the gold. In 1869, a cloud of dust settled and we became the birthplace of a little thing called college football. We beat Princeton that day, but that was just the beginning. We went from the first football game to the first NCAA conference. In 2014, the Big Ten called and we answered. We brought over 20 Division I programs with us. And these programs are strong, athletically and academically. We define student athlete. But don't think the rack is the only place you can hear Scarlet Knights making some noise on the world stage. We are global. We have a footprint in over 150 countries on all 7 continents. All 7. Even the cold one. It's true. Scarlet Knights are everywhere. But no matter where you started or where you finish, you're from Jersey now. You're part of the family. Because let's be real, Jersey's our home, and Rutgers is New Jersey. Son of righteousness, shine upon the west also. That's our motto translated. And it might be a little old-fashioned, but here's what we think it means. Rutgers brings New Jersey to the world, and the world to New Jersey. But we can't do it without you, our newest, brightest Scarlet Knights. Welcome to Rutgers. It's going to be a heck of a ride. And for you, it all starts today.
All right, indeed, it all starts today. And just as I said at the beginning of the video, let's get to work. Here to continue with officially welcoming you to Rutgers is Elizabeth O'Connell Ganges, Associate Dean of Student Success Initiatives from the Dean of Students Office. And we're so happy to have her with us this evening. Dean O'Connell Ganges.
Thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen, hopefully. Is that? Let's see.
It just gave you permission to share, so you should be able to at this point.
Okay. Well, can everybody see this?
Yes.
I'd like to add the welcome on behalf of the Office of the Dean of Students and to Rutgers University. And one of the, So the role of the Office of the Dean of Students is really to help each of you achieve your personal and academic success. We work with partners such as global programs and each of your academic schools, the One-Stop Student Services Center, the Counseling Center. So no matter what the offices are that you need to be connected to, that's part of our role as the Dean of Students, really sort of putting the pieces together to help you reach your graduation, but participate in all aspects of what Rutgers University has to offer. You saw in the Anthem video, so many different elements of the university, and that really is a part of your overall success at the university, and we want to help you achieve all of that. So some of the factors, though, that sort of inhibit or sometimes get in the way of student success are things that you may not even anticipate. You may find yourself at some point with an illness or an injury. You may find yourself not really understanding some of the academic materials. You may find yourself with financial questions or just truly unaware of resources. We know that Rutgers is a big place. During the time that you're here at the university, all kinds of life experiences, life circumstances will happen. And we want to make sure that no matter what those things are, that they do not get in the way of your success at the university. So first of all, we want you to know that you're not alone. So no matter what you do experience, we are here, not only Global Services, but the Dean of Students Office are really here to help you. One website that we want to make sure that you are aware of is success.rutgers.edu. It is a central resource that lists all services and resources at the university, whether you're looking for academic advising or academic support, whether that's tutoring, whether you want to explore careers. There are also a number of how-to instructional videos. How-to instructional videos that will teach you how to use WebReg or course scheduling features or Degree Navigator or Add Drop. So different systems that the university will be talking about. You can find a video and a tutorial as to how to use that on this website. You can search for any resource that you're looking for. And if you're unable to find a resource, you can email us and we will do our best to connect you with something that you are looking for. So this becomes an important website for you when, again, Rutgers can be challenging and difficult to sort of find, where things are located, both physically on campus or if you're navigating it, online. This becomes an important resource for you. So we know that it's, you don't need to know everything at once. We know that some of these things are going to be important for you a month from now or 2 months from now or 3 months from now. So that's really why that website is there for you. A few tips and strategies that we really want you to think about is make sure you're keeping track of dates and deadlines. Some of the sort of pitfalls that students find themselves in is that they didn't realize when things were due, or they didn't realize what was the last day or the deadline to do something. So You may be modifying your schedule over the next few days. There is the last day to add a class and drop a class is January 27th. And then later on in the semester, you may find that you're still having difficulty with a course and you want to drop that course. You want to make sure that you are still maintaining full-time status, but that date is March 21st. After that date, things get more and more difficult. So again, put these dates on your calendar. Similarly, with every exam, every project, every deadline in your classes, make sure that those are on your calendar, because missing dates and deadlines is really one of the easiest things to keep track of and avoid as a pitfall, but it is one of the most common pitfalls that students just don't realize. So you've got this as a tip. The other thing is to really think about communicating with your professors or your teaching assistants or TAs. If you are going to miss class, if you find yourself ill or with an injury or something unexpected, let your professor or your TA know. Again, the Dean of Students office is here to help, and sometimes they will want us to verify the reason for your absence or verify the reason that you need extra time on something. But the more you do in communication with your faculty, with your TAs, the better that relationship is and the easier that it is to ask for extra help. Also think about, visiting office hours and talking directly with your professors and your teaching assistants if you find that you're getting behind. The more you can get help along the way, the easier it is if you find you're having difficulty later on and you're not trying to catch up after the fact. The other important resource for you, and again, you're going to be able to find that on the Success website, is how to connect with your school academic advising office. So they're going to be available. There's online chat features. They have office hours. They have advising sessions to really talk with you about your major, the courses that you want to be taking, requirements that you need for graduation. Don't let their office be something unfamiliar to you. You want to develop a relationship with each of them as best as you can. So this is just a picture, because sometimes we know that it can kind of feel like you are blindfolded and you're trying to figure out a complex place called Rutgers. And so we really, the Dean of Students and really all the campus partners, are going to do our best to guide you and instruct you and help you really sort of build your future and navigate your way through the university. So here are some different ways that the Dean of Students office can help. So again, I mentioned that you might find yourself ill or out of classes, and a faculty member may say that they need documentation. You can provide that to us. We maintain that documentation confidentially, and we will provide verification to your faculty members. You may find that you are looking for financial resources that you didn't expect. Again, we can be a resource around financial assistance. We can help you make referrals. If you are looking for assistance, whether it is to the Learning Center for academic support, or you need connection to counseling for mental health, or there's something with Residence Life or any of your academic schools, again, we can be a referral and a resource to make those connections. Sometimes you're not concerned about yourself, but you actually may be concerned about someone else. And as a community, we really are all supporting one another. We want you to support your peers and your classmates and your friends, and you may have some concerns for them. And so you can submit a concern about another student. Sometimes it's referred to as the do something button that's on a lot of websites. The image on this slide is what that button looks like. And again, it is a click on it, with a link to a form where you could submit a concern about a community member. And this can also be done anonymously, but it allows the Dean of Students office to investigate and to reach out and to support that student. And then for those who are undocumented, we have resources and a staff member who are working directly with students on those issues. And then we also provide just general guidance and support. So a high-level overview about the Office of the Dean of Students. We are available virtually for drop-in hours every Monday through Thursday. And this is the link in the website. We can be emailed. there is our email address, and then our website, which also has the link directly to our drop-in form for drop-in hours. So we want to make ourselves as accessible and available to all of you for questions and to connect you to resources so that we really are here to support your success. So here's a view of many of the staff. Again, bright, smiling faces, welcoming you, here to help you, here to assist you in any way possible. With that, again, in the Anthem video, you saw these gates. This is Old Queens. This is the old historical, corner of the university. And these gates are often symbolic of going through the gates towards graduation. And there's lots of history and some traditions about, crossing those gates. And so I put these here as a reminder that when you are on campus, that we are all here to support you towards your goal of graduation. And again, want to wish you all the best and here to answer any questions if there are some now, or can do that at another time, whatever's best with the program.
Thank you so much, Dean O'Connell-Ganges. Really, really appreciate all of your remarks. And I think in the interest of time, I would encourage any students who have questions for you, maybe can reach out to the Dean of Students office directly. But again, thank you so much for coming and being with us today and sharing all this information. So I will say we have several students who have just joined us just now, probably because they might have not gotten the Zoom link or went to their junk or spam boxes before. So we have students who are just now joining the program, and we're so glad you're here. Once again, welcome. This is being recorded, so at some point it will be made available to you, and you can catch up on what you missed for the first 30 minutes. But this is actually a great time to join because we're about to do breakout rooms. And in the breakout rooms, you'll have a chance to talk to other students, other graduate students, other undergraduate students. But before we do the breakout rooms, I'm going to launch a very quick poll just so we can have an idea of who is with us today. Hang on one second. Okay. Oops, relaunch. Okay. All right, so there's just 3 quick questions here if everyone can take a moment just to answer these 3 questions. So we know how many undergrads, how many graduates we have here, students who are maybe joining us from inside or from outside the US. And also students, we do have a mixed group of students, some who started their programs from outside the United States, who were enrolled remotely in the fall, and some who are just starting for the first time. All right, we'll end this in just a moment. Okay, let's share the results. We can see, so we're about an even split almost between undergraduate and graduate students, so that's cool. It looks like everyone who's joining us today is inside the US. Okay, so everyone who's here is here, that's great. We're all in the same time zone, hopefully. And it looks like a couple people maybe started their programs from outside the US, and most everybody else has not started yet. So, all right, that is good to know. So with all that done, I'm going to go ahead and launch the breakout rooms. So they will be divided up into undergraduates and graduates. So pick the room that works for you. We'll take about 20 minutes, and you'll be joined by different people from academic units who will be able to help you learn about different academic support resources within Rutgers. So let me go ahead and launch those breakout rooms, and we'll see you all back here in about 15 or 20 minutes. Thank you so much. It looks like we are all back in the main room together. So I just want to say thank you very, very much to our campus partners who facilitated those breakout rooms. I'm sure that they shared a lot of great, useful and informative information. And we thank you for the students who are joining us midway through the session. We're glad you're here tonight. The session is being recorded. So if there's anything you want to see that you may have missed, we will provide a recording to you at a later point. So in the next portion of the program, we're going to introduce you to our non-academic resources that are available to you as students at Rutgers. So to get us started, I'm very happy to introduce one of my Rutgers Global colleagues, Greg Costales. He's also joined by Lauren Forsman, both from our Global Programs unit. So Greg, I hand it off to you.
Great. Thank you, Maya. So good evening, everyone. So I'm Greg Costales, the Assistant Director of Global Programs at Rutgers Global. So we've just spent some time talking about academics and resources available to you while at Rutgers. I would now like to change direction a little bit and move on to a different topic, something a little lighter, getting involved with student organizations and attending programs and events while at Rutgers. So attending extracurricular programs and joining student organizations is an important part of your college experience. Get involved, expand beyond your classes and your research. Global Programs at Rutgers Global organizes events for the student body every semester. These programs are open to all students, international and domestic, graduate and undergraduate. So many of our programs are social in nature and are designed to introduce you to other students at the university. Other events are more academic and will allow you to learn about different topics through panel discussions, film viewings, and guest speakers. You should attend programs when time permits to discover new things, meet people, network, and learn outside the classroom. One of the signature programs for students at Rutgers Global is called Friendship Fridays. And Friendship Fridays are casual gatherings designed to bring students together. On most Friday afternoons throughout the semester, we will meet either virtually or in person at some location on campus to share stories and conversations, or work on fun arts and crafts projects together, or play board games. We hope you will join at least one Friendship Friday activity while you are at Rutgers. To learn about all the programs and events that Rutgers Global provides, you should follow us on social media. And I know we showed this early at the start of our presentation today, particularly Instagram and TikTok, but also Facebook and Twitter, whatever you prefer. You can also visit the university's event calendar known as Get Involved. This is going to be your best friend while you're at the university. Get Involved is a full list of programs run not just by Rutgers Global, but by student organizations and university centers. And there are events that take place every day. A final note on staying engaged while at Rutgers: join a student organization or two. There are over 500 student organizations out there that cater to all interests and backgrounds. By joining a student org, you can meet people and expand your network. You can improve your team building skills, and you can even pursue a leadership position with any of those organizations. So thank you, and good luck with your studies this semester and beyond.
All right, thank you so much, Greg. We really appreciate you joining to talk to us about the program resources for students. And next we have a representative from the One Stop. The One Stop is very important. It is a go-to resource for many, many student needs. So to speak about the One Stop, I will now hand things off to Mitch Marcus.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Maya. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me, and I'm excited to meet all of you tonight and be with you. So my name is Mitch Marcus. Like Maya said, I'm one of our student services advisors with the One Stop Student Services Center. We are a new office recently opened up in August to service our students in a variety of different functional areas. So our main areas that we really try to support students are within the areas of financial aid, student accounting, and also in registrar. So a lot of the responsibilities that our advisors undertake on a day-to-day basis really involve trying to make sure that any of the obstacles that you might be facing in terms of securing enough aid to be able to attend the institution, making sure that you understand what you're actually taking in as far as charges and different things that come in through the semester in terms of fees and just other things that students have to pay for, and just really making sure that the academic process that you're going through is really smooth and cohesive. These are all sorts of things that we can assist with and try to work with you on if you are experiencing any sort of issues or just have any sort of questions for us. We're a really great resource to also kind of open you up to some of the other things that I know you've been learning a little bit more about today as well throughout the campus itself. So if you're in need of services through the Dean of Students office, or even getting referred back to specific contact members at Rutgers Global, we're happy to kind of make those referrals for you as well. In terms of where we're located, we're on the Bush campus. We are located at Dr. Samuel Duane Conduit Proctor Hall. So if you're familiar with where the Bush Student Center is, for anybody who has been on campus before, for those of you incoming, we're kind of in the center of the Bush campus near where the Student Center is. And our doors are open Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 4:30, and on Fridays from 11 to 4:30 when we're in person, to have you come and walk in without an appointment and just kind of get your questions answered. The best way you can contact us right now is through email. I will put in the chat just our contact form so that you can get in touch with us, or you can give us a phone call. I'll also put in our phone numbers there as well. That goes directly to our office, and any of the advisors that you speak with are more than happy to kind of assist you with your questions. We know it's a really busy time as you kind of get acclimated and everything to the start of the semester, and so we want to be a resource to you. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are very more than happy to kind of assist with any sort of things that you have going on and get you to the right resources on campus. I will keep it at that and just try to be brief, but again, thank you for having us this evening, and we're excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mitch. We really appreciate that. The One Stop is a really tremendous resource for students, and so we're happy you're able to join us and share that with us. Turning now to housing resources, I would like to welcome the Director of Off-Campus Living and Community Partnerships, and that's Carrie Wilson. Take it away, Carrie.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me tonight. So I'm with Off-Campus Living and Community Partnerships. I'm also part of the Dean of Students office. So you had an opportunity to meet with Dean O'Connell-Ganges earlier. So a lot of the services, she spoke about earlier, I assist with as well. But in addition to that, my office helps students who are looking to live off campus, find housing off campus, but also know what your rights are as tenants and your responsibilities are as community members. So we don't find housing for you. We just have a variety of resources and tools to help you in your search for off-campus housing. It's very important when you are looking for housing off campus that you are familiar with the surroundings, with the community itself. New Brunswick is an urban area, so we want to make sure that you end up in a safe community when you're living off campus. And also a lot of our housing is old, so we want to make sure that you're moving into a property that the landlord is maintaining and taking care of. So we have, as I said, a variety of resources available on our website, including helpful information on how to find housing off campus, what should be in a lease, what shouldn't be in a lease, and different resources to help navigating living with other students and things like that. In the chat, I'll put all of our contact information. And then, your journey here, you look for housing off campus. Once you find housing, if you do run into any problems, our office is here to serve as a resource and help connect you with other agencies, either in the city of New Brunswick or on campus, that can assist you if you run into any issues or concerns. Student Legal Services is a great resource on campus as well, and they can help review a lease before you enter into any agreement. It's really important that you know when you sign a lease, that is a legal binding document. So you want to make sure that if you sign any documents, that you are completely aware of what you're getting yourself into. We want to make sure that you're living close to campus, that you can that you have parking available if you need it, and things like that. So please do make sure that you utilize our office as a resource. In addition to in addition to off-campus living, we also run a student food pantry. A food pantry is something that we help students who are struggling with what's called food insecurity. So if a student is having a hard time affording food, if they don't have enough money to purchase food, they are invited to use our food pantry. You only need to show a Rutgers ID. You don't have to show any sort of proof of need, but we want to let you know that that's a resource for you as well. So I'm putting all this information in the chat. Please know our website is a great tool for you where you can find a lot of information. Similar to One Stop, we are working remotely right now. So your best bet is to either send us an email or call and leave a voicemail, and we'll follow up with you to provide you with any information that you need.
Great. Carrie, thank you so much. And thank you for putting all of those links in the chat. Those are all tremendously helpful resources. And so I encourage everyone to take note of them. And thank you, Carrie, for joining us and sharing that information tonight. So shifting gears a little bit onto a different type of resources. We know that many of you are just now starting your program, but you're already thinking about what you might be doing after graduation. So to speak with us a little bit about career exploration and those resources having to do with career searches is Toy Tyson from the Office of Career Exploration and Success.
Thank you, Maya, and hello to all of you. So yes, the very fact that you are in college says that you have interest in making sure that you strategically move into a great career. And that's what we're here for from day one. And no matter whether you are a first-year student or you are in your graduate program, we're here for you. We have resources, services, one-on-one groups, programs, career fairs, employer information sessions, all kinds of ways to access employers, and even information that is tailored towards you. We have the ability to help you. And particularly with international students, in the last several years, we continue to strategically grow our information that is suited towards the international student, including having team members on our employer side, as well as our advising side, to make sure that we are able to address your needs no matter what major you're pursuing or industry that you want to pursue. And by the way, if you are having challenges with identifying what major or industry you would like to pursue, that is definitely something that we can help you with as well. So whether you're looking to discover, exactly what you're trying to do, explore majors and careers, develop your skills and find ways to do that, figure out how to network, and you think maybe, I don't know who to connect with, we have a database of alumni who are willing to be contacted to help you explore careers and to pursue your goals, certainly to either apply to those internships, those co-ops, those jobs, and even for any particular graduate program and beyond that you're looking to pursue and need assistance with that, we are there for that as well. We have a staff that's set up strategically to help by what we call career communities. And what that means is we have subject matter experts for all of the fields that you're looking to pursue, who are basically spending time with those topics, with the professionals in those fields, and with that information that helps you to be most ready for your pursuit of those particular fields. I mentioned earlier that we have career fairs coming up on February 17th. We have our mega internship and career fair, which will be virtual. And you've heard the theme of things being presented virtually. And so we're along the same lines of presenting things currently virtually, yet effectively. We've had some practice over the last couple of years of really having effective fairs where people are still getting jobs and opportunities by way of these virtual resources that we have. So please take a look at our website and make sure that you look at the upcoming fair. And the one thing I would like to make sure everyone recognizes too is the main way to actually access resources and services that we have, make an appointment, find out which events we have coming up is through our platform called Handshake. So I'm going to actually put some information in the chat as well. Careers.rutgers.edu is our website in general. Handshake is the same website, just /handshake. And those are the ways in which you could really start to access information as well as how to contact us. But certainly to just set up an appointment, you would do so through your Handshake account. You automatically have a Handshake account as a Rutgers student, and then you just have to go in and customize it with some information that helps us to strategically provide you with access to information suited for you. And then you will begin to receive notices and information that will help bring your attention to the services and even the employment opportunities for your field. So I could go on, but as you can pretty much understand is that we really work hard to make sure that students are prepared for their career ahead. And statistically, our postgraduate survey shows that we are above many of the research institutions in terms of effective outcomes for students. So we want you to be a part of that and know that you have a resource waiting for you for your career development needs. So thanks for the time, and we look forward to being able to help you.
Thank you so much, Toy. Your team is always so helpful for our international students, and we really hope and expect that all of you here tonight will fully utilize the services at Career Exploration and Success. So thank you so much for being here and sharing that with us. All right, so it's great to know again about all these resources from them as well as our other campus partners. We're now going to shift gears just a little bit and talk about health insurance and share some reminders from them. So we can actually, thank you, that's great. So first of all, in talking about health insurance and some reminders about health insurance itself, please first be sure to carefully review the health insurance slides in Canvas. They can be found in Module 5. So if you haven't done your Canvas modules yet, be sure to reference Module 5 for the health insurance slides. The slides contain all the important details about how to enroll in the student health insurance plan, as well as how to request a waiver in case you carry separate coverage. Also, please remember that the deadline to enroll or waive health insurance is February 17. Okay, so that's less than a month away. Mark it on your calendar, enroll or waive by February 17, so it can be appropriately covered by health insurance. And the effective start date of coverage is January 15th. So if you have questions about benefits, please refer to the website, universityhealthplans.com. That's where you will go to see what sort of things are covered under the health insurance plan. If you have questions specifically about the enrollment or waiver process, please reach out to Erin Jones. Erin Jones is the health insurance coordinator at Rutgers Global, and her email address is eljones@global.rutgers.edu. You can email her, or you can schedule an appointment with her via our advising webpage. Just go to our advising webpage and you can meet with her during her virtual hours by appointment. So that is the information about health insurance for now. And then finally, we're going to go to the next slide. We are very, very grateful to have one more very important campus partner joining us today, and she's from the Office of Student Health. I'm very pleased to introduce Dr. Francesca Mariska. She is Interim Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Health and Wellness. It's a very long title, but she's a very important person. So we're really happy to have her here. We're grateful that Dr. Mariska has taken the time out of her very full schedule to join us and share a lot of useful information from health services and answer any questions that you may have. So Dr. Mariska, I'll hand it off to you now.
Hi, Maya. Thank you so much for having me today. And I'm just going to apologize because I noticed everybody else had one slide, maybe two, and I have about 7. Because the student health information, there's a lot of it. And I know sometimes it's just more helpful to see it in front of you as I am speaking. I am also more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. If you just put them in the chat, I will keep the chat open so I could see them, and it doesn't bother me if they pop up. I'm used to it. So as Maya said, I am part of Rutgers Student Health. And if you want to just go ahead and jump to the next slide. And Rutgers Student Health actually consists of 3 different components, and that's medical, counseling, alcohol and other drug assistance, and psychiatric services, and my office, health outreach, promotion, and education. What I'm going to talk about tonight is predominantly medical. I will touch on insurance, and then I'm going to touch on our counseling center as well. So we are actually a fully accredited healthcare provider. We have 3 different locations. So we have a location on the College Avenue campus, and you're seeing a picture of the lovely Hurtado Health Center right on College Ave right now. We have another location on Livingston, which is the Bush Livingston Health Center. And our 3rd location is on the Cook campus, and that's the Cook Douglas Student Health Center. We are open Monday through Friday during the semester, so fall, spring semester, and our Hurtado Health Center remains open through the summer. Our hours are generally 8:30 in the morning till 5 o'clock. The Hurtado Health Center does remain open until 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday evenings. If anybody ever needs assistance after 8 p.m. in those times or on Friday nights or over the weekend, we do have a 1-800-NURSE line number that people can call. And you can see our website here, so you can see that information there. You can call and make appointments at the number you see on the screen, but you could also make appointments online at health.rutgers.edu. We see students both in person and via telehealth. So we have been one of those areas in the university that has remained fully in person all through our remote environment, all through COVID. So even now, while people are slowly coming back onto campus, we do have healthcare providers who are available to see you in person or via telehealth. Okay, for the next slide. So you just heard all about insurance. So all students at Rutgers have to have insurance. So we have something called a mandatory hard waiver that you just heard about as well. So you either have to tell us you have insurance that will cover you adequately during your time here at Rutgers, or you will have to enroll in the university-sponsored plan. And again, that deadline is February 17th. Please do make sure you engage in this process before or on February 17th, because if you don't, and you do have adequate insurance that will provide coverage during your time, you will be charged for our insurance, and we will not be able to remove that charge for you. So that's why we keep reminding you about that deadline. So please make sure if you have insurance to go ahead and do the waiver. Your insurance card, you actually do get a insurance card that you could just download and print. And for more information on what our plan covers, you could go to universityhealthplans.com. Immunization. So this is a super hot topic right now. As you are probably all very well aware, the university has several immunization requirements. So your immunization records, well, they were due. They were actually due last month, but we do understand some people are still getting their records in, and you should do that as soon as possible. Some of you might have already hit some bumps in the road with registration because perhaps immunization records were not submitted, or some of the documentation that we require was not submitted. So you submit everything through this website you see here, the rutgers.medicatconnect.com. That's our immunization record. That's what you upload everything into, and that's what we are looking at on the back end to verify your immunizations. Our standard immunizations that all students must comply with is the MMR, which is the measles, mumps, rubella, hepatitis B, and meningitis ACYW. This year, we had a new vaccine mandate, and that is for COVID-19. So we are accepting the following vaccines, which is Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, also known as Janssen, and all CDC or WHO approved vaccinations. So it's really important you get this information in, because if you are planning on moving into one of our residence halls and you do not have your COVID-19 vaccine information submitted, you will not be permitted to move into a residence hall. So you really have to get all of that in. And if you have questions about it, there is actually, if you go to rutgers.coronavirus.edu, I know a very original name for a website about coronavirus, but all the information on our immunization requirements, all the questions, and also International Student Services actually has their website all set up for all the COVID questions you might have as well. Next one. So I mentioned before, we also have counseling, alcohol and other drug assistance, and psychiatric services. And this is basically our counseling center. Our counseling options are either one-on-one, or we also offer group counseling with either PhD level psychologists, we have master's level social workers, and we also offer groups. And our groups are super popular as well, because then you meet other people who might be experiencing the same issues you are. Our alcohol and other drug assistance program is for students who might be struggling with their own use, abuse, and addiction related to alcohol or other drugs, or maybe somebody in your life has a use, abuse, or addiction issue and it's having a negative impact on you. And our psychiatric services are there for students who might be utilizing medication to help manage a mental health issue, or they have some complex mental health issues that require psychiatric care. And we do also offer care that you can work with a psychiatrist as well as one of our counselors. And we even have something called Next Step, and that's for students who require a bit of a higher level of care. And our psychiatrists work with Next Step as well. We have case managers to work with students. And then we also have something called community-based counselors. And these are social workers who are embedded throughout the university. We have them in all of our cultural centers. They're also in the School of Engineering, the School of Business, Mason Gross School of the Arts, Honors College, etc. And they are there to work with the community, to provide education, but to also offer something called Let's Talk. So if you just want to see maybe what counseling has to offer, or you just want to chat with somebody on a more a less formal basis, you could go to one of the Let's Talk options as well. We are open Monday through Friday. We are offering both in-person as well as telehealth visits, and we always have same-day crisis care. So if you are really struggling and believe you might be in a crisis, if you call CAPS at this number you see on the screen, 848-932-7884, you will be screened. And if you are in a crisis, you will be seen that same day. So going back to COVID, because we can't seem to get too far away from COVID at any given time, these are our current mandates. We do have an indoor mask mandate at this point in time. If you are indoors in any Rutgers facilities, whether it's our student centers, our academic buildings, our recreation centers, computer labs, libraries, anything that's Rutgers or student health centers, you have to wear a mask. You are required to wear masks on our bus systems as well. You know about the COVID-19 vaccine mandate, so you are required to show proof of vaccination, and that means not just putting in the date you were vaccinated, but uploading an image of your vaccination documentation. We also are requiring COVID-19 boosters, and there is no easy explanation or one answer for this because it all depends on when you were vaccinated. So if you, depending on the vaccine you received, depends on whether you have to be getting your booster 6 months later, or if you receive a J&J vaccine 2 months later. And it also depends on whether or not you have recently had COVID, because if you recently have COVID, then you have 90 days from the time you had COVID to get your, you have sort of a grace period of 90 days to get your booster. I know it's a lot of information. I know it feels sort of like we're moving around, like we're moving all these dates and when things are required, but you will be required to have your booster. This is especially important if you plan on living in any of our on-campus housing. So even if you're not ready yet to have your booster, it's not your time. When it is your time, you're going to have it. Otherwise, you will have to move out of our house. All the information that you upload has to go through our COVID-19. If you need information about appointments, if you need to get a booster, if you need to follow up on your initial vaccine series, perhaps you arrived in the US and you did not have a CDC or a WHO vaccine and you need to make an appointment, you could do it at this website that you see on the screen because you can get vaccinated and get your boosters on campus. Next slide. So everything I just talked about tonight, and I know I talk really fast, so I'm sorry. You could go to health.rutgers.edu. Please follow us on social media, RU Student Health on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, because that's actually a place where we put a lot of information about deadlines or upcoming events, helpful information around your health and wellness. If there's hour changes in our student health centers, more COVID information, all gets kind of pushed out through our social media accounts. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Francesca. And especially for fielding all the questions over several months and offering us really useful and helpful information and helping students just meet this vaccine requirement, getting waivers where needed. We really, really appreciate your support and that of your entire team. Thanks a lot for joining us today. And let's open it up. I mean, I'm guessing students may have some questions for Dr. Mariska. Any questions? Feel free to put it in the chat or you can speak up. We're towards the end of the program now. Any questions?
How to schedule a booster appointment?
Gona, was that a question from you?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. How to
Please
schedule
go ahead.
a COVID vaccine booster dose appointment?
Where to get it?
Yes.
Okay. We can drop a link in the chat.
Yeah, if you, once the link is dropped in the chat, you can actually even make your appointments online. All the appointments are at our School of Pharmacy on the Bush campus, and they've been doing this for quite some time, so they have a really efficient system going. So once you see the link, you could go ahead and you can make your appointment even tonight. It's a completely automated system.
Thank you.
I see somebody saying I have submitted Hep B requirements. I'm not sure. Do you mean you've just uploaded your hepatitis B immunization information? Because like the other ones, it's the same thing. You put in your dates and you have to upload the documentation that supports it.
Hello, I have a question. Am I audible? So I had uploaded my immunizations on the portal while I was in India, and they were verified. But I think a week ago or two, they were, it got converted to not verified. Is it because I've not taken a booster yet?
No, that shouldn't impact anything in terms of your booster at this point in time. What I'm going to ask you to do, I'm actually going to put my email in the chat, and if you could just email me.
Okay, I'll do that.
Your specific situation, as well as if you have your RUID number. That's really helpful to me because tomorrow, or even tonight, if I could.
Yes, I'll do that. I'll drop an email.
Okay. So, so the person who's asking about your MMR. So if you are enrolling in the University Health Insurance Plan, as soon as you enroll in it, then we know that's the coverage you have and you'll be able to get your MMR through our student health service. It's hard for us to provide services to you until you are, I'm assuming you're registered already. If you are, that's awesome. But if you are going to be using the University Health Plan, as soon as you're enrolled in it, then you can use our services. Okay, so if you get sick, that's a really great question. Thank you. If you get sick and it's, you're Monday through Friday during our business hours, please call Student Health. And that number, again, I'm going to put it in the chat, is 848-932-7402. Call us and we will get you an appointment as soon as possible. Usually we could see you within a day or two. You can make appointments at any one of our 3 student centers. So whichever one works out best for you, depending on where you're located, if you're living on campus or off campus or your class schedule, etc. If it's after hours, then I recommend calling our 1-800 nurse line number, and I will see if I can pull that number up for you before I leave the event tonight. And that's for anything after hours. And you talk to a registered nurse and you tell them what's going on, and they tell you, oh, it's okay, you can wait till tomorrow and call your student health center. Or they're going to say, oh, you know what, we think that this is more urgent, and direct you on where to best get care if we are not open at that time. But yeah, call us first. I always say start with us. We're really the easiest place to start. Thank you.
Ma'am, I have submitted a hepatitis B requirement, but I didn't remember the exact date for the dose. So
as long as you submitted your documentation, so here's the really interesting thing. I think people think that there's no humans on the other side of the immunization portal. And there's actual real people. Mohini has met most of them too. So what happens is when you put information on the portal, you put in the dates and then you upload images of the documentation. And that's actually what we're doing. We're looking at the dates and we're looking at the documentation that you submitted, and we are making sure that they match up. So as long as there's some sort of documentation saying that you received the immunization, it should be fine.
Right, but I haven't put up the dates because I didn't remember the exact date. So I'll just leave it blank.
So if you don't know the exact date, but maybe you know the month and the year, that's better than leaving it blank. Because when it's blank, the part of the system that is not humans is sort of scanning to see what people put in. And if we don't see anything in those dates, then our system reads it as you being not compliant.
It's showing not compliant because I haven't put up the date. So will it affect my course registration? Because I haven't put up the date for
It
hepatitis
shouldn't
B.
impact your course registration. We're not necessarily stopping anybody from registering, but it's really important that you get the information in. If you want to go ahead and my email is in the chat, go ahead and email me your name and your student ID number, and I will make sure that the right people see what the issue is and make sure that we can take care of this for you.
Yeah, because like it was showing that there is a hole in my immunization record.
Okay.
So,
Mohini, there's a question in there that somebody is a TA and they're asking, do they enroll in faculty insurance and waive the current insurance?
So if they're a TA, they should be able to, their actual current student health insurance should automatically get waived. And they have to enroll. They have to enroll in the TA insurance, but they should have received instructions about it in an email. But let's one more time drop an email in the chat for our health insurance coordinator. And Ali Asgar, if you could please email our insurance coordinator, Erin Jones, and she can help you with more information. And we'll also drop in a link to our health insurance page on our website. So you can look at the TA insurance information there.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Give me her email.
Yes.
I have a question. So is Rutgers insurance accept in other health offices as well? I mean, like hospitals and clinics that are not related to Rutgers?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. I'm sorry, I should have clarified that. So Rutgers, the Rutgers Student Insurance Plan is United Healthcare. It's what we call a major medical plan. You get up to $500,000 of coverage for illness or injury. And there's also a prescription plan involved within it as well. So you don't just use it at Rutgers Student Health. You could use it in other healthcare facilities, other hospitals. If we need to refer you out to a specialist for any reason, say you need, I don't know, a gastroenterologist, we will make sure that we refer you to a gastroenterologist that accepts the Rutgers Student Health Insurance Plan, because we don't want anybody getting what I call the surprise bill, because that never ends well. So we want to make sure that you go someplace that accepts the insurance.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And then somebody also asked, do we need a card if we get sick to use our health insurance? So yes, you're going to download your insurance card and print it out, and that's what you'll show. So even if you come into Rutgers Student Health, you're going to say, hi, here's my insurance card. If you use it outside of Rutgers Student Health, you should show your insurance card. And one thing we should tell you is you should always have your health insurance card with you. That is something you should carry with you at all times, because in case of an emergency, you're going to be asked to show an insurance card at any kind of healthcare provider's office.
I have one more doubt. So I've taken the Covaxin vaccination in India, and I wanted to ask if I should get revaccinated again, or I can just go ahead with a booster shot.
So that is going to be up to you. If you received one of the World Health Organization approved vaccines, we are not going to ask you to be vaccinated again.
Okay.
We do recommend, or we strongly suggest, I don't know how we want to say that you receive at least one mRNA vaccine when you arrive, or after your vaccine series has been completed. But you aren't required to do that, but you will be required to get the booster. I know we're still figuring out some of the details around when the booster shots are best received after the WHO vaccines are received, because
so we can take any booster, or is there a certain criteria for like Covaxin or Covishield?
So when you get a booster, if you're here in the US already, there's only 3 boosters available here. And so that's either going to be Moderna, Pfizer, or Janssen, known as J&J. So we don't give the boosters that are available internationally. We only give the boosters that are approved by the CDC here in the United States.
Okay.
Okay, so before I take another question, I'm going to scroll through because I'm seeing that little bar that says 14 new messages in the chat, so I don't want to ignore those. So who can I write to ask for a grace period for the booster? You are all going to have to attest or say whether or not you're eligible for the booster, and that's something that's done online. So if you recently have COVID, you have to say, I've recently had COVID, and then you get an automatic 90-day grace period for the booster shot. Otherwise, we're not necessarily giving people a grace period if you are eligible. You have to get your booster shot when you are eligible. I guess, so that's not me. So you can, I know we talked about this. Yeah, you get your health insurance card. Thank you. Rutgers Health Insurance website. Thank you, Carissa, for putting that up there. Okay, Helly, email me if you are saying that you were verified and now that you're not. So please send me an email and I will follow up with that.
Wouldn't that be a problem? Like I haven't put up the dates of hepatitis B.
So that's one of the reasons why you're being shown as non-compliant. We need two pieces of information. We need the dates that the vaccines were received, and then it needs to be backed up by the documentation. If you don't have the dates, and if it's not dated on your documentation, then it's going to be an issue because we need to know when.
Yeah, like actually I have put up the document and it is showing like in the document, it is shown that only the month is shown of the vaccine.
Does it show the month and the year or just the month?
Only the month, like, yeah.
Okay, we need to see a year. So that's one of the reasons I'm asking you.
No, like it is shown that from birth, the what period is it takes, like from birth it's 6 months or 12 months, or like it is divided into that like document.
Yeah, because you had 3 vaccines. Hepatitis B is 3 vaccines. Your initial vaccine, your second vaccine, and then 6 months after your first, it's your final vaccine.
Yeah, so, like everything is given in that document.
Yeah, but we do need to see at bare minimum a month and a year. We can't just take it with the month because it's not considered valid documentation unless we have all of that. So go ahead and email me and I'll see how we can work with this with you, okay?
Okay.
Panic if I don't email you back first thing in the morning. When I go in tomorrow, I have like 4.5 hours of meetings right off the bat. So please don't panic. I will get there. I promise you.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
I received 2 doses of AstraZeneca in Iran, and I want to know what should I get as a booster, and when should I get the booster shot. And my last shot was on November 26th. Can I receive my booster shot now?
Okay, so that does depend on what your initial vaccine was.
AstraZeneca.
AstraZeneca? Go ahead, Mohini.
No, Francesca, you may know, but the last email I saw from you and Dr. Shimoni suggested that you can get the booster 6 months after the AstraZeneca or after most WHO approved vaccines. And it would typically be Pfizer, but could be Moderna too.
Yeah, right now I think Pfizer is the recommended one. So if you finished in November, you're waiting till around April. Sometime in April, 6 months from the date you had your vaccine in November.
Okay. And one other question. My friend has uploaded her document to the website, but their vaccination document has not confirmed yet. What should she do?
So we're getting a lot of uploads. We've been getting a lot of uploads since last week, and people are looking at them as quickly as possible. So they just need to be patient as we work through to verify everybody's vaccinations. We have people who are uploading today.
Okay. Because she can't register for her semester, as you know, when you don't validate their COVID-19 vaccination document, they can't register for the semester.
Yeah, and I understand that. So we're moving as quickly as we can. If you want to, sometimes Mohini winds up sending me, or Trevor sends me lists of students. So if you are on their radar in any way, shape, or form, we will find out who you are and we'll try to move a little faster for you all.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. So if students are in a situation where they're getting their vaccines now and have registration blocked, please email us, and we will work with Dr. Mariska and her team to get you a temporary waiver just for a little while so you can be registered.
Okay, should email directly to you?
You are welcome to send me an email directly, because even if you send it to the general account, it will eventually come to one of us. So you can email me directly. I'll put my email in the chat.
Thank you so much.
What might actually be easier, I know I told a couple of you to please email me directly. If you go ahead and email Mohini, she'll put you all in one list for me. And then instead of my worrying that I'm not catching all of the emails you sent, Mohini sends me a list and then we check everybody, and that actually helps us move this process a little quicker. To the person who asked if health insurance covers dental and vision, no, it doesn't. I wish it did. I know it's a big deal, but if we included dental in our insurance plan, it would become unaffordable. But however, you can enroll in a low-cost dental program, and you could get that information off of the insurance website as well. And it also provides a list of participating dentists in the area for that. Vision, we do not cover vision, not unless there's an eye injury, okay? But it doesn't mean like I could go get my eyes examined and get my glasses again. So we do not have coverage for that. Carissa, thank you. Yes, health insurance coverage starts on the 15th. Okay, so that was already, today's the 19th, so it actually started last Saturday. I'm going through really fast, sorry. Okay, MMR, got it. Your immunization record is that https / Rutgers.medicatconnect.com address. That's where all the immunization records have to go. We can't accept immunization records any other way, because these are your records going into your specific profile. So that is the only way to really do it. Thank you. Okay. All right. I think I got through them all. So for those of you who are having questions, who are having issues, your registration is blocked, please go ahead, send your name and your RUID number to Mohini. She will send me a lovely list, and we will go through each of you one at a time. If you have a specific issue, such as the person who's Hep B doesn't have dates, I noticed somebody in the chat said that you have a pediatrician certification. Make sure to put a little note in and say that's what the issue is, so we know what we're looking at. Okay. So if you have a month and weeks, yeah, it needs to have years. It can't just be a month and a week. So just explain your circumstances in the email to Mohini. I know that feels really uncertain to you. I understand that. And I understand that you fill out a lot of things every day. Probably you're filling out more things. But we will get through this. I promise you. If we could get through last fall, we will get through this spring.
Dr. Mariska, thank you so much. This has all been very useful. You've been very, very generous with your time and your information for everybody. And we just ask for everyone to please be patient as you send us your emails with questions about immunization requirements and other related issues, because it will take time, like she said, for people to get through all the emails, but you will receive a response. And so we just really appreciate your patience. And Dr. Mariska, thank you again for your expertise and for being such a great champion of our students and such a great support for us and for them.
I'm really glad I was able to be here with all of you tonight. And I just want to say welcome. We're excited you are here. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing real people on campus again in about a week and a half. So I'm there every day. So when I walk down College Avenue, I'm sad right now because I don't see students. So I know I will be seeing you soon. So welcome to Rutgers. And I really hope after, I know this has been a bumpy start, but I know it's going to get better. I do. So thanks for having me tonight.
Thank you so much. And everyone, we still have a few minutes left in the program tonight. We can now open the floor up for any questions that are not health related. If you have any questions about things that have not been covered, I also mentioned in the chat earlier, we are very happy to have some of our illustrious orientation leaders who are here with us tonight. I saw Cherry's name in the participant list. Who else is here?
And Rasha is here too, and Shine had to leave early, but Rasha is here as well.
So. I did see Shine's name earlier too. So thank you, orientation leaders, for joining us. If you want to Unmute yourselves and say a quick hello and welcome for the students. You're welcome to do so.
Excuse me. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please. Go ahead and ask your questions.
My question is about my social security number. After trying too much to get an appointment, I got an appointment for my social security number on March 3rd. Can we reschedule it? Can we do something to make an earlier appointment?
That's a good question. I wish there was something we could do to make an earlier appointment for Social Security numbers, but the Social Security Administration, like many other offices, is very limited in their services right now due to the pandemic. And so they cannot see appointments as quickly as they would like. And it's not just Social Security numbers that they issue there. They see the entire general public, not only students. And so they're trying to accommodate many appointments every day, and there is a backlog, unfortunately. So if you were, fortunate enough to be able to make an appointment, that's fantastic. Now all you have to do is wait for your appointment, gather your materials, and that's about all you can do. If you are working with a department on campus, you have an on-campus job, and they want to know what your Social Security number is, please assure them that you have an appointment scheduled. Let them know the date of the appointment and that you're waiting for your number, and they will be able to work with you to go ahead and continue your onboarding process even without your SSN. So that's okay. If you are a student who has an on-campus job but has not yet applied for the SSN or hasn't made an appointment yet, you will need to call the Social Security Administration to schedule an appointment. That information is in our FAQs along with the phone number to call for the appointment. It is difficult, admittedly, to get through the line to actually make the appointment and reach a live voice, but I encourage you just to keep on trying, try different times of the day, different days of the week, and with some patience and a lot of persistence, you will reach someone and you will be able to schedule that appointment. But they are booking several weeks out right now. Other questions?
I have already paid my term bill, but I think I need to apply for additional courses. Can I do that? I mean, use WebReg?
Yes, we're in the ad drop period right now. The ad drop period ends, someone remind me again, I think it's the 27th or 28th of January. The first couple of weeks of the semester, people can add or drop classes and change their schedules around a bit. So you need to make sure as international students, again, make sure that you're full-time, fully enrolled at all times during the semester. So for undergraduate students, that's 12 credits. For graduate students, that's 9 credits. So you can move your schedule around, but you do need to be enrolled full-time.
Thank you.
Yes, and I know that there is a long wait in the queue for getting an SSN appointment. Believe me, I wish that we could help. But again, Rutgers students, just like everyone in the general public, does need to wait in line to get the appointment. There is no literally going to the office. They have to have an appointment in order to be seen at the office. So do not go there to be seen. You do need to call and schedule an appointment ahead of time. And Jinling has just popped something into the chat about becoming an orientation leader for the fall. So if you have enjoyed this program and you'd like to be on the other side of it as an orientation leader, please do keep in mind the opportunity for applying to be an orientation leader. And as she says, feel free to connect with Rasha and Terry if you're interested, or for Jinling if you'd like more information. Great. And Dr. Mariska has also just popped into the chat the phone number for the advice nurse line for after hours. So that's a really great resource. Please remember to hang on to that. Hopefully you won't need it, but it's there just in case. 1 or 2 more questions before we wrap up with some final reminders. Okay, if you think of anything else you'd like to ask while we're here, please feel free to put your question into the chat. Otherwise, I just want to go with a few final reminders before the session is over. Please refer to the post-arrival guide that is on our website for the checklist of things that you need to do once you've arrived here, okay, in order to complete the check-in process. So if you're here in the US, you do need to complete the online check-in and refer to the post-arrival guide on our website for those details. Remember too, if you have not yet completed your Canvas modules, you have until January 24th to complete the Canvas modules. And also check your emails. Check your emails regularly for updates. I know that everybody gets a lot of emails all the time, but emails especially, and with everything going on right now with the university and campus operations and the pandemic and just arriving to the US, it is very, very important to keep an eye on your emails and look for updates from our office. Because if you get an email from us, it has to do with maintaining your legal status, which is very, very important. So please do check your emails regularly for updates from us and from the university at large. Our website is global.rutgers.edu. If you have not already bookmarked it, please be sure to bookmark our website. It is a very, very, very critical resource for you during your time here with us as an international student. And finally, if you have any questions that we have not addressed tonight, or you think about a question as soon as you log off of here, and you think, oh, I wish I would have asked that, be sure to send us an email at isss-students@global.rutgers.edu. When we receive your emails, it will be forwarded on to an advisor from our office, and they will get back to you. But be sure to contact us that way. And I think we can go on to the next slide. I think there's a couple more helpful slides that we have here.
I think Meet was asking for how he or she can contact with Rasha and Cherry. Okay, so maybe they will share. There we go. Cherry just did.
Awesome. Thank you, Cherry. Okay. And then I don't know if Jenlyn can go on to the next slide. I think there's just one or two more slides with some helpful information. Success.rutgers.edu. So this is the resource that Dean O'Connell-Ganges shared at the beginning. This is kind of your go-to for everything having to do with university resources. It's a great website, success.rutgers.edu. It's a place where you can go and search what the service is or the resource is that you're looking for. And it's a really great one, again, to bookmark and refer back to often. If you have a question about how to find something, how to get connected with something specific on campus, success.rutgers.edu is a good place to go. Or you can ask one of us at ISSS, and we're happy to guide you there as well. Rasha, thank you for sharing your email address in the chat as well. That's great. So connect with Cherry and Rasha if you're interested in becoming an orientation leader with us in the fall. We would love to work with you in that capacity. And then finally, we have this commercial from PNC Bank. Jenna can share that.
Hello, my name is Christine, and on behalf of PNC Bank, I'd like to welcome you to Rutgers University. In the next 2 minutes, I'll provide a quick overview of resources available to you, whether you're on or off campus. PNC Bank has a branch conveniently located near campus at 112 Somerset Street, New Brunswick. We also have ATMs located on campus and ATMs in Quick Checks and Wawas throughout the area. A PNC Visa debit card can be used in-store, in-app, or online for a faster, easier way to pay. PNC My Finance Academy provides free financial literacy tools to all university students. The site is designed so that you can learn however you prefer, by listening to a podcast, watching a webinar, or reading a personal finance article. Topics range from tips on how to build your credit score to building a budget while in college. To learn more, visit pnc.com/myfinanceacademy. To learn more, schedule an in-person or virtual appointment at a PNC branch near you at pnc.com/locator or visit pnc.com/student-banking. Thank you for your time, and I wish you all the best on your journey at Rutgers University.
Great. Well, thank you all Once again, I just want to say we are about to wrap up the session tonight. So I just want to say thank you all very much for joining us tonight and staying with us throughout. Those of you who joined us from the beginning.
My name is Christine.
And those of you also who joined us midway. Thank you for being troopers and coming at the last minute and joining us and staying with us. Again, we have recorded this entire session. Please reach out to us if you have any questions, and we wish you all the best for the spring semester. Have a wonderful night, wonderful day, wherever you are.